If there is one sentence that I want you to remember, other than the magic of compounding and things like that, is wealth has to be created. Wealth can't be earned. Wealth has to be created, and you have to remember this. And the far more important thing is creating wealth is simple. Second, it does not mean it gets done. Third, wealth creation does not require luck or some great creative genius or special connection, nepotism. None of this is required. All you require is the willingness to learn and put into force in your life some simple habits. Let me take a very simple example. How to become a good runner? Very simple. Get out of the house in the morning, wear your shoes and run. Right? Forget the corona bit. That's been a small portion of our lives, 3-4 months. But other than that, this is the only thing. What you have to do 365 days, get up in the morning and run. Maybe you run 2 kilometers, 5 kilometers for a start. You're running very slow, maybe you're walking partly. It does not matter. You need to start, and exactly like that for your wealth creation. It is simple, but people look for expensive workshops and learning and all that. You don't need to do any of that stuff. Watching these videos, reading Subramani and reading a few other good blogs, books is more than sufficient, because learning is something which can happen only when you want it. Going and sitting in a class, attending a webinar, that's all fine, but the question is you will not do unless you do it, right? You have to get up in the morning and run. Getting the best coach in the world will not make you a good runner, but getting up in the morning and running every day or every alternate day, depending on how well your body is trained, will make you a far better runner than all the coaches in the world can. Like John Bogle says, the secret to wealth creation is there are no secrets, right? So today I'm going to reveal the non-existence of secrets rather than the secret of what is required. So first of all, it starts with a very basic thing. You have to spend less than what you are earning, and that sounds very basic, but yeah, many businessmen have no clue how much they are earning, how much they are spending, right? It's unbelievable but true. And then the second one which I am going to tell you is get into good wealthy habits of the rich people. And I have observed rich people from very close quarters, and it is unbelievable the way they manage their money. How much they earn has nothing to do with how much they spend. Their earning may go up. I've seen portfolios double, especially in the last in this year when everybody else's portfolio has gone down. There are people whose portfolios have done very well, thanks to FANG, thanks to some fertilizer companies, thanks to many such factors. But nothing changes in their lifestyle. You can't even believe, even if you read The Millionaire Next Door or read Benjamin Franklin 250 years ago, the habits remain more or less same. Spend far less than what you are earning and invest the difference sensibly. That is very important. People save. In India, you find in many communities they are afraid of investing. There are only two things in which you can invest. One is equity, one is real estate. Anything else is a saving. Even gold is actually a saving, and it's not an investment. So basically these are only two assets available to the common man. You're not going to invest in an oil well, you're not going to invest in paintings, horses, etc. I'm not talking of those assets. I'm talking only two assets. You've got only equity or you've got real estate. Anything else, what you do is saving. Even putting money in a credit risk fund is a saving. It is not an investing, right? So largely these two things, nothing changes. It's like saying why prices are going up, because more people are buying. Why prices are going down, because more people are selling. This is a basic. But we spend millions of dollars. I believe the newsletter market is more than $1 billion in the US, of trying to find out what the market is doing and what it is going to do next. Don't waste your time. Time spent on the macro is a complete waste, right? I didn't say it. Peter Lynch says that. Go and check what he says. So spending less than what you are earning sounds sometimes a little negative. The other way to look at it is, what do I do to increase my income? Therefore, I go and renegotiate with my boss, get a higher salary, or start a side business, right? Try to convert some hobby into cash. Right or wrong, if there is a market for your product, you should go and sell it. Don't worry about what others say, ye bikega, nahi bikega, doesn't matter. Just go and sell a product that you have. If there is a market, they will buy it. Should you price it at 1000 rupees or 1 lakh, doesn't matter. You find out, market will pay what you deserve only over a period of time. On day one, you may overprice or underprice yourself, doesn't matter, right? Just go and start. Make that positive thing of saying, okay, my monthly expenses are so much. Subhra says I should save or invest so much, so therefore this plus this plus this much should be my annual income. If that is not your current annual income, try to create that, or try to spend less. Spending less is very easy. You have to do it immediately, but it is little negative. Your whole mindset feels, array, I am sacrificing something. Then you won't do it for too long, right? So best is to increase your income. And these themes look like twin themes, but both end in the same thing. You will have more money for investing. So there are people, after a particular level of income, you can save 70-80% of your income, right? I'm not saying this is possible for every person, but for somebody like a boy or a girl who is 23, 24 and still staying with his parents, his whole income can, technically speaking, be saved, or therefore saved and then invested, right? If you're not paying rent, your father has given you a flat, your father-in-law has given you a flat, doesn't matter, right? So you're not paying rent, you're only paying society charges. That's huge, right? So the amount of rent that you would have paid is something which you can invest. There are two types of assets, like I said. One is the paper assets, which is your equities. And remember, you don't invest in the mutual fund. You invest in equities through a mutual fund. You invest in debt through a mutual fund. You invest in gold through a mutual fund. So mutual fund is a vehicle. It's a wrapper in which any asset can be kept. So that is basic. And you can invest in real estate. But please understand that investing in real estate, especially 5-6 flats, is like getting a part-time job because it's a very demanding asset. So the landlord is a nice title, but very expensive in terms of time spent. So be careful about, do you have the time and the willingness and age. At the age of 70, you may not want to run around looking for a tenant and collecting the rent and repairing his faucet, right? That's not something which you may want to do. So what all can you do to... the second thing is, when you have to invest, remember, you are a function of the habits that you pick up. You said you have to save more, so you have to spend less. That's right, but you have to make the changes in yourself. You have to make the changes in your habits. Small habits done consistently will create wealth, but everybody doesn't do it. Everybody thinks, oh, it's easy to start an SIP, but you don't do it. So start a 1000 rupee SIP or a 2000 rupee SIP if you're a beginner. Start a 20,000 rupee SIP if you're intermediate, and start a 2 lakh rupee SIP if your cash flows permit. But make the start. That is important. It is easy to say, bahut easy hai. Easy hai, but somebody has to do it, right? Cooking is very easy, running is very easy, but it doesn't mean somebody can cook every day, 365 days, right? It gets boring after some time, so you have to still do it. Pace bowling is boring, batting is boring. Right? Can you bat for 6 hours at a stretch? Well, that's what great batsmen do, correct? But it's not very easy, it is boring. Having your attention there continuously is not easy. That's why small people earning small bits of money but with good habits create wealth. But lottery winners regularly end up in the poorhouse, because the habits are far more important than the amount of money that you have. So what can be a habit? Shifting from using personal transport to using public transport. That's a good way for somebody earning 20,000-30,000 a month. Can start saving reasonably big amounts of money. For somebody who's earning 5-6 lakhs a month, or 5-6 lakhs, about 50-60 lakhs a year, This change may not be creating any significant improvement in the amount of money that they save, because if they're not traveling much. But for somebody earning much less, yes, eating out can be expensive. Going by bus instead of going, or train instead of going by auto or Ola or Uber can be. So these are simple habits which you have to create. You cannot do this one day and say, today I saved $100. No, it has to be consistent, persistently done. Day in and day out, you have to believe that I am doing all this to create wealth for myself. It means how will the wealth be used? Well, initially I may retire early, or I may send my children to a better college. Anything. How you want to use the money is up to you. Whether you want to create wealth is also up to you. But if you want to create wealth, these are the steps. Essentially the same thing in terms of creating good money habits. And I mean, this is just one thing which I said, a daily habit of of running a little bit, of completely staying off sugar in your tea and coffee is far more useful than saying I will not eat sweets. Maybe you don't make sweets at home, so you don't go out and eat, but the 3 spoons of sugar that you take in your tea is what is killing you in terms of sugar. The bread that you eat, the biscuit that you eat, all those things are adding sugar to your body. Now your habit is to say, okay, I will get rid of bread, I'll get rid of biscuit, I'll get rid of sugar in the tea, I'll get rid of sugar in the coffee, right? Be careful. If you have a cook at home, the cooks have a huge love for sugar. They put sugar into everything that they make. So if you have a cook, hide the sugar, right? So these are simple habits. That's what I'm saying. So getting up in the morning and going for a walk or going for a run is a good habit. Doing an SIP is a good habit. Similarly, there are all wealth habits. So these wealth habits have to be incorporated very slowly. Don't try getting everything on in one day. That is not going to happen. If you have not done an SIP, I would be very surprised if you come to this vlog and you have not done an SIP. If you have done an SIP, see if you can increase it. Make sure that your PF is untouched. Corona times, people are allowed to touch their PF. As far as possible, don't touch it. It is the best return that you're getting on your investment. 8% plus and tax free. You can't get this kind of thing anywhere else. See what are the expenses which you are incurring. Try to reduce it. You may not be able to eliminate it. It is like going from 10 cigarettes, you may not be able to go to 0. Some people can. But you can go from 10 to 9 to 8 to 7. So keep reducing or do something like that. Clear up all the unused assets that you have. I keep saying clear the clutter. Open your wardrobe. See the things which you do not need. Just clear the clutter. Not that you're going to make too much money out of it, but you will get into saying, I need just 4 shirts and 5 pants. I don't need 40 shirts and 20 pants, right? Or 40 plants. Learn about personal finance. Learn the fact that you need simple products like term insurance and medical insurance. And that's what you need. Don't buy complicated products. For example, right now you are in a cash crunch and you need money. What do? Thanks to Corona, there is a problem. Now, best is go and sell some asset, because almost all assets are inflated except perhaps real estate, right? So if you have gold, the choice are you can take a gold loan, which in the private sector will give you 12% interest, will cost you 12% interest, or you can go and do a painful gold loan borrowing from a PSU bank, which will be at 8 or 9%. But remember, dealing with a PSU bank takes 3% of the toll, because if you're going to borrow 2-3 lakhs, then it's only 8,000-9,000 rupees. Think about it that way, the amount of time that you spend. But your money is safer, your gold will not get exchanged, it will lie in a PSU bank locker. There are some advantages also, right? But if you want to take a small amount of money and you're sure you can repay, gold loan makes sense. But in my brain, what I think is it's always nice to sell off an inflated asset rather than borrow against an inflated asset, especially if you're not sure how you're going to repay. You've taken a cut in salary. Don't put this pressure of repayment, because 12% loan, if you have to repay, is a lot of effort. But if it's an 8% loan, it is cheaper. But even better is to sell off the gold, use the cash, and 6 months later, 8 months later, 2 years later, whenever you actually need the gold, go and buy it. It's not so bad, because the pressure of interest which means if you borrow gold today, if you take a gold loan today at 12%, you're assuming that gold will appreciate by at least 13%. Maybe it will, but the pressure on you that it has to appreciate by 12% will kill you. So get into simple wealth habits of saying, I will not borrow, I will live below my means. I will use my credit card very carefully, right? So some of these things you get it in place, and that is the process that you need to create wealth for yourself. Thank you.